All right, are you ready?
Yeah? This episode is brought to you by Carlisle Tattoo Co. Bold, bright and everlasting. You can find us at 178 Carlisle Street, St Kilda, Melbourne, Australia. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Carlisle Studios.
Welcome back.
My name is Hal Hunter and I'm here again with...
Still no nice intro.
You gotta say your name.
Bella Hunter.
There we go.
But usually, you've dropped it. I don't like this anymore.
Okay. I fully fucked it now. You did this last week. You complained about the intro and now of like...
Well, say something nice about me and then I won't bloody wreck ya.
Okay. I'm here again with my wife, beautiful tattooer, professional artist, Bella Hunter. Yeah. How's your week been?
My week's been great. How's your week been?
I love how you wait to start to then fully like take your jumper off and shit.
I know, I got really hot all of a sudden.
Now you're worried. You just hit the mic.
Oh, sorry, gang. Okay, I'm settled.
All right. We try and make it more professional every week, but it's seemingly I feel like it's getting less and less professional.
I do agree.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be a surprise that it's just us two again, sitting on the floor in our
spare bedroom.
Looking at our phones with shit we've written down to talk about.
Yeah.
Weekly recap, Bella. It's been a different week for us.
Very different.
Lay it on me. What have you written?
Me? You want me to start?
No one else in the room.
That's true. Technically, I'm going to go like backwards in the week because last night we got back from Byron Bay. Mm-hmm. So I think we mentioned on the previous episode that we were going to have a few days off and head up to Byron. Yeah. So got back last night and it was a very nice few days off. The weather was a bit up and down, to be honest. It was a bit rainy.
It was pretty good.
We got stranded on the beach in the pissing down rain, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed. So that was lovely to have some time off. And then now I'm jumping to like the start of last week to think about like my tattoo recap, I guess, which is what we normally do. But I had a great week last week. I had a regular customer come in for a day rate and we pumped out a few on her arms because usually we've only done her legs. So that was nice to like start on a different, I guess, like project.
Yep. Because
I sort of like view it as like the start of something where you've got nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds dumb, but whatever. So did that. Then I had a few other regulars come in. We just did a few more like palm-sized pieces to fill in gaps, I guess.
Yep.
And then we went off to Byron. That was my week before we left.
And you've had one day back at work since?
And today we went back to work for a full day. I had a great day today. What did I do? I did this morning a guy that I've tattooed previously, but I haven't tattooed him for, I reckon, like maybe a year and a half.
I've tattooed him as well.
Yeah.
And Bobby.
Yep. Bobby usually tattoos him.
Yep.
So we did a eagle and snake on his thigh, which was really good. And we had a little bit of extra time, so I did like a tiny little like geisha head on him as well. Mm-hmm. And then I had Brenton, who we mentioned last episode, I think. No, we mentioned him in the Budgie Smuggler episode.
Did we?
Yeah, because we said that you were annoyed that he was coming to me to get his back done.
Ah.
Yeah.
For the record, I'm not annoyed. He can get his back done by whoever he wish.
Yeah, you were just being a bit silly.
Won't forget it.
Yeah. So anyway, he came in for the second session, the Savo, on his back, and we actually did so much.
You got heaps done.
I literally shaded like the bulk of all three animals in the Battle Royale.
I was really surprised.
Yeah. He sat like a weapon.
Although,
not surprising.
People have been saying you're the fastest, and I had a customer say it to me the other day.
Yeah.
And it really put the pressure on me. I thought during that tat, I was like, oh, fuck.
What customer said it?
Oh, who said it?
Fastest, but might not.
No, I can't remember who said. I cannot remember who said it. It was someone that I tat regular. I can't remember though. And they were like, oh, because they'd heard us say it in the podcast before. And then I really did start to feel the pressure when I was doing that tattoo to like, because I was half thinking, are they saying this to try and like make me hurry up?
Yeah,
because they feel like I'm taking ages.
Maybe.
But yeah,
you can have a think on who it was because I'm really intrigued.
I can't remember.
But yeah, I might be fast, but definitely not the best. So still not winning.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna fast or good, you choose.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we did.
You did a lot.
He came in at 2. We finished at 5. So 3 hours of shading today, and I shaded the eagle, the snake, and the dragon.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Besides the dragon head. So.
I was actually very impressed, to be honest.
So that was great. And then we drove home. I had a little nap in the car on the drive home, and now I'm here eating a punnets of cherry tomatoes.
Well, I've written down substantial notes for mine. Tats from last week before we went away after the podcast. I can't remember if I did the neck tat. I spoke about that. Yeah. I couldn't remember. Anyway, that was all I had.
You're trying to double up on on a good tat, aren't you?
I just keep saying the same tats every week.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We then went to Byron, which was...
I said that.
I know you said it, but that was your week. I had a different experience up there.
Oh, of course, because we didn't go together.
No, we did, but I went surfing and stuff, which was really good. You've been to Byron before, I haven't. So
yeah, I've been a few times.
I got to experience it the first time. And we did go to like a few different areas. Went to Lennox for half a day and Ballina for 10 minutes.
Where an old man fell on me?
He did. Well, he was... we'll tell it quickly. We were sitting down having a juice before we went to the airport, and we're sitting on a little street bench, and he just walked straight into it, this old bloke.
It was quite sad.
Because he's... couldn't see very well.
Yeah.
And he thought he would stepped out far enough. And he smashed his leg, and then he had to sit down and let his leg recover a little bit. But then just rambled on about his whole life story. And it was actually quite interesting, like...
He was a very interesting man, but he fully fell on top of me, and I was sitting with my back towards him, so I had no idea. I just thought that someone had just come up and grabbed me. Yeah. It was a bit weird.
But his life story is actually quite interesting, but it just was going on for a long time.
And I felt really bad because it got to a point where we were like, all right, mate, we actually have a flight to catch. We have to go. But it's such a weird excuse to say randomly that it might have sounded fake. But it wasn't.
I just waited for the opportunity to jump in and go, oh, mate, we've actually got to head off, but it was nice to meet you. So that was actually quite nice. That was our only experience in Ballina other than the juice. And
the juice was nice too. We sat on the bench and the woman actually brought it out to us, which no one ever does that in Melbourne. They scream your name until you come.
All reports, Ballina, very good.
Yeah, Byron, good. Ballina, great.
The surfing was really good as well. If anyone is into surfing...
hang 10, brother.
I've got a mate who lives in Suffolk Park, which is just near Byron, and he put me onto a few spots, which is cool. And they're not unknown spots because there was lots and lots of people there when I got there. So
very busy. I actually came with you every time you went surfing this time because normally when we're at home, you would just go by yourself because I'm hanging out with the dogs or living my own life. It was good.
So surf Broken Head, which is nice. Not the point, surf the beachies a little bit, which is cool. Surf there twice.
You just call it a beachy?
Yeah, that's what they're called. Beach breaks.
Oh, okay.
You call them beachies.
Yeah, cool.
And then we went to the pass, which is the main wave, the most popular, the most famous wave there. But it was only 1 foot, and there was 1,000 cunts out. And I was usually couldn't be fucked, but we had nothing to do, so I was I'll have a surf. And I actually caught heaps of waves, which is surprising.
I just think that's because you're a really good surfer.
No, it was more like everyone else there couldn't surf.
Oh.
So, because it was such shit quality waves.
The thing that I just cannot get my head around, and I know this is a nothing thing, but everyone there was wearing full-blown wetties.
Not everyone, but there were a lot of...
I would say 90%.
The water was 26 degrees and there was people wearing wetsuits, which was...
absurd.
I was hot in my board shorts.
But and the only reason you put a t-shirt on was because you were getting a sore tummy from your board.
We come from down the peninsula, which is south of Melbourne, an hour and a half south of Melbourne. So it's not terribly warm down here, especially during winter.
Yeah, and you surf through all through winter. So.
Yeah, so surfing up there is hot for me, but that was cool. And then I surfed Lennox Head, which is probably now one of my favorite waves ever. We were on the way to the airport and we had a few hours spare, so we stopped at Lennox because I wanted to see the wave. And then Bella was like, "Oh, you should go surfing." And I was like, "Fuck, right." Caught maybe 4 or 5 waves, and it was actually so sick. And I didn't get wrecked on the rocks trying to get in or out.
I did watch you when you made your way in, and you stood there hesitating for a bit because
getting into the water.
Yeah. An older bloke got in before you, and you watched how he did it, so you didn't look. Pardon me, hiccup. So you didn't look silly, but then you stood there for like 4 minutes, just like hovering, waiting to get
I
to
hesitated
jump in.
massively because there's this Instagram account that I've seen a few times, and it's dedicated. It's just videos of people at Lennox Head trying to jump in off the rocks
And just getting destroyed.
smashing themselves. It's got like over 10,000 followers, and I was just paranoid that someone would film me. And
Well, I actually did film you in
I
hopes
know,
that you would
yeah.
fuck up, but it wasn't too bad.
And
You were just a
the
bit
guy in front of me
hesitant.
jumped in, and then I was standing on these rocks, and I hesitated, and I was like, ah. Ultimately, I jumped in, no dramas.
Yeah.
But I was standing there going, oh my God, I've hesitated, and now I'm going to like
this is
fuck
already
it up.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, I giggled as I walked away to go like sit in a shady spot.
It was nerve-wracking, Bella.
It was funny.
Anyway, so that was a really good experience. There was a shark in the water at Broken Head.
Yes.
Never been in the water when there's a shark before.
Not that you've known about.
Well, I'm sure there has been some around,
Yes.
but I've never seen one. And some bloke, we're all just paddling around, and some bloke goes, there's a shark. And I sort of turned around because no one's ever yelled that out in the water with me. And I guess like I guess you really only get like fucking great whites and that down here.
I don't know. I've
You
never
don't
come
get
into
small
contact
reef
with
sharks or anything.
one. No, you like whenever you hear about someone seeing one when they're surfing, it's generally like
Yeah.
a bigger deal.
And I turned around, I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then someone else yells out, there's probably like 40 people in the water. Someone else yells out like, how big is it? And then he goes, oh, not too big. And then no one went in.
So all 40 people stayed out in the
Yeah.
water after
And I
the
then
alert
was
had
like
been there.
looking around going like, oh, is anyone going to go in? And no one went in. So then I didn't go in.
Mind you, which I think is very absurd on your behalf, but mind you, a young girl, incredibly sad, had lost her life to a shark.
People get eaten by sharks all the time, Bella. So it's
They
not.
actually don't. The like likelihood of it happening are very, very low.
You can tell me all the stats. I'm just saying.
But in that general, like, sort of, not
Yeah,
really
but no one
general
seemed
area.
fussed. And I'm not.
Yeah, and I just think that is so crazy.
But I'm not like, I don't know the ways. Like maybe
You just didn't want to be the sort.
Maybe they see him every day and it's no drama.
Well, your friend who lives up there says that he sees them quite often.
He said he's had 2 encounters.
Oh.
So then I was surprised that I'd surfed up there one day and had 1 encounter. So
Well, you didn't get eaten or
no.
attacked,
So I
you're
stayed in
fine.
for about an hour afterwards, and
And then you came into the beach and I said, oh, let's go for a swim. And you were like, oh, there's a shark out there. I was like, cool, let's go.
yep.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, you were saying let's go away from the water, not like let's go in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So that was really interesting, and yeah, glad my first shark encounter was not a bad one.
I'm also glad.
We had some really good dinners up there.
Great dinners.
And what was your favorite?
Sorry, before you make another fool of yourself.
Make a fool. Okay, continue.
You're about to. I think that you should say to me, because generally you pick where we go for dinner and like all of that, because dinner's your favourite meal of the day, whereas my favourite meal of the day is breakfast.
Okay.
So, and I don't get super excited about dinner in general. Like when we go out for dinner, I'm sort of like, oh, I'm tired. But anyway, I booked all of the dinner spots. I chose every single place we went for food the entire trip, and I think I did a
I believe
fucking
I
great
booked
job.
the first one actually.
Oh, sorry. You did book the first one because I told you to because I was asleep.
No, they were all really good. Can't complain.
So thank you, Belzy. Say the
And,
words.
yeah. Favorite cuisine?
You didn't say the words. Thank you, Belzy.
Oh, thanks, Belzy.
Thanks.
So yeah, that was one of. I actually really enjoyed that
Yeah.
up in Byron. Lots
Mind
of
you,
good
the
food.
places we went, in case anyone's going. First night we went to Bang Bang.
No, that's not
No,
true.
sorry, incorrect.
First night we went to Daughter-in-Law.
Yes, which is a like sibling restaurant to one of our favourite restaurants in Melbourne, which is called Horn Please.
You know what? Actually, we might be the first people ever to give a Byron Bay restaurant a shout out with us and asking for our meal to be free.
Nah, there'd be people before us, but not many.
I
On a
saw
lot of
on
the
all the
menus-
menus it says we do not offer fucking free meals for promotion.
Yeah, which it was very funny, but whatever. Yeah, so we went to Daughter-in-Law, which we already knew that we'd loved because we've been to the other
been
restaurant.
before.
Then we went to Bang Bang. Then we went to
was good.
the Mez Club.
Also quite good.
And then we went to Light Years.
Yes.
So in case anyone's going up there, that's where we went.
Yep. That's all you need. And then yeah, back to work today. Tattooed a regular customer, Brody, and we just did a bunch on his leg, and he's getting tattooed all day tomorrow as well.
He's
So-
crazy. I love him.
He is really nice.
Does he listen to the podcast? I don't pick him as a podcast guy.
he asked how it was going, but maybe that's because it got mentioned in the shop today. I'm not 100% sure if he listens. No, he did, because he says it says good casual listening.
Oh.
I didn't know they take that as a compliment or like him saying like
It's shit, do better.
Shit, like nah. But hey, we got heaps of questions after last episode.
Sorry, can we just go back a step? When Hal was writing the notes for this podcast, one of the things that he wrote down I found really funny. And what was it, Hal?
Oh, my spelling of the word cuisine.
And how did you spell it?
Quiazines.
I think that is so funny. You're not the best speller. And
well, it wasn't giving me any help when I was doing the...
Well,
I kept typing it in and it wasn't coming up with any suggestions.
I was in between tattoos and I quickly went to the toilet and read like the note that Hal sent me about recording this episode. And as I read that sentence, I was like, what the fuck is he trying to say? Anyway.
I now realise it's spelt with a C.
Because I told you.
Yeah, you did. No, like I know it doesn't look right. Obviously, when I'm
Quasines.
I'm looking at it right now. Quiazines.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. I'm gonna laugh about that for a while.
So I'm gonna skip over the nice words they say about us in this message. Mm-hmm. I feel like lots of people. I don't know I think they're being nice, which is awesome. But I don't know whether they feel
Awesome,
like
guys.
obliged to write nice things about us for us to then choose that question to be put in there.
I think it's breaking the ice. You start with something nice and then you get them where it hurts.
All right. Should I say the name?
No.
Okay. Got a question for next week, if that's cool, which is this week. I wonder how/when you knew you were ready to move from Vintique to opening your own place and spending most of your time there. Big fan. I guess that's more directed at me, that question.
Mm-hmm.
I got a few in here, so I couldn't remember which one was which. Interesting, I think. Because, I guess we've brushed over this a few times in other episodes and stuff, but just for background. So when I started tattooing, I was living in Collingwood, which is like an inner city suburb north of the city in Melbourne. And I started working at Vintique Tattoos, which is in Mordialloc, which is about like 35k south of Melbourne on the beach. So like a seaside suburb. But so for me to get there, it was about 45 minutes in the car. So not really close at all. And that's like Bobby was working there. I was getting tattooed by Bobby and he's taught me how to tattoo. And I ended up working there for 6.5 years. And honestly, I always had in my mind that it would be like easier or ultimately it would be good to like work somewhere closer to where I was living. But I think like just the work, I've said this before, but like the work environment and I guess like what Bobby, Scott Moss, myself and initially and then a few others, Rudy and Dave and stuff came on board a bit after me. That what we had sort of built in the work environment and I felt like I didn't want to leave that. And
What you're saying is they created a really inviting, fun work environment and you had a great group of people with you. So you didn't feel like you ever wanted to move on because you were so happy with what you had.
So...
And you were very, very like... I can't even think of the word, so I shouldn't have interrupted, which is dumb.
I was just thinking, like, as we mentioned last week, you know, you were just finishing what I was saying, so why don't you just continue? And
I was going to say you were so stoked with what you had that, like, even if you had a shit day, you would have just been so happy to be in the position that you were in.
Well, it was good, but I was talking about this with Cody Hill today, who works at Carlisle with us. He's like, it was a different time in tattooing. So
definitely.
It was... I think it was a lot less. Well, I mean, it was like a big work ethic, definitely, but I just think the expectations weren't as high as they are now on a lot of people. And
well, Instagram definitely wasn't what it is now.
No, it definitely wasn't. So I remember like we had a lot more free time, and we would. It was a lot more hangout and stuff like that. Whereas now it's like if you're not tattooing, you know, all day, you sort of feel like you're
not wasting your time or something.
Yeah, you're like missing out on opportunities and everyone else is like getting ahead of you and stuff. So Pros and cons to both, but yeah, I think I really was enjoying like the workplace and the people I was working with and where I felt like we were all going together as like a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone working in that environment felt that as well. But I think ultimately, and it was definitely sort of Bobby's idea initially, was he'd had since 2009, he had Vintique, and I think he always wanted to. I'm speaking on behalf of him here, so he can come on at any time, Bobby.
Yeah, get your fucking ass here, mate.
We're working on that, everyone, by the way. But yeah, from my understanding, was like, yeah, he sort of would always wanted to sort of see if he could do something in the city, you know, close to the city. And he obviously saw me as someone who
to take advantage of a young pup.
No, I think
I'm kidding.
I think like we obviously had a great relationship and really good.
He was and still is like your best friend.
Yeah,
so.
and I think it was the right time in my career, looking back now, and it was probably the right time in his career. And
I think he just saw an opportunity and he said, if we don't do it now, we never will.
Exactly. And so we just...
And it was also good timing because I had just started tattooing as well. So it was not as if it was a bad thing, but having me at Vintique was also changing the dynamic of that shop. And
yeah. And I don't know what his thought process around you coming on board into the tat world that we had was. Like he might have factored that in more than I think he factored it in to the decision, sort of ask if we want to do something separate. So, Bobby suggested it to me and it just worked out really well. And timing wise, I was like, you know what, like to do it with someone who's already done it before, I think, you know.
And someone who's also been your mentor your entire career. It
means like you don't make as many mistakes. Like you still make mistakes, but you don't make as many because they've experienced it all before. And, doing the second shop and since we did the first Carlisle, like I've realized, you know, once you do it once, you know, like you then understand how it all works, and the second time so much easier. So I was really lucky that I had the opportunity to do that with Bobby. And yeah, just sort of has obviously snowballed and become something bigger than I had, honestly. And this is the weird thing, is like, well, not weird, but I think a lot of people think when they look at, say, our careers or us at work and stuff, and they think it was like, that was always the goal.
No way.
And I can honestly say, like, it never once factored into my mind about having my own shop or whatever. It was just like, just wanted to learn how to tattoo and do tattoos, and that was sort of it, really. And I guess it's the same for you. Like, you obviously wanted to learn to tattoo. I wanted you to be able to tattoo well.
Well, for me, it never factored into it because I have only been tattooing for over 3.5, close-ish to 4 years, I would say now.
Well, 2019, so.
What year are we in?
2023.
Yeah. So for me, the only objective I ever had was to actually come home at night and be confident that I did a really good job with my tattoos that day.
So that's, I guess that was, I can't remember what the question was. It was about going from Vintique to Carlisle.
Yeah. How did you know you were ready and all that?
Well, I guess the answer is like I didn't know I was ready.
I think Bobby gave you a bit of a push and you...
Well, I just sort of always backed Bobby in. Like he got my career to a certain point and I was like, look, he took me from nothing to where I was at that time, and I was really happy with that progress. So I was like, why wouldn't it keep going like that? And I think this sort of goes on to other things in tattooing and stuff and a few other questions and stuff. But I always think like, I think everyone's ultimately got to make, you know, the best decision for them at the time and stuff. But I think there's especially now in tattooing, there's a real like lack of people seeing the opportunities
of what you could
that maintaining good relationships and giving that respect and paying like your dues to the person who teaches you to tattoo.
Yes.
And that's not me
saying... Have I paid my dues to you?
Yes. But I think that's not me saying like, oh, if I teach someone to tattoo like Luke or, you know, any of the young boys at the shop or whatever, that it's like they have to just be loyal to me forever or whatever. It's like, but I'm saying is like,
It's just like having a level of respect for someone who took you on.
Yeah, and I think...
Because you don't gain anything by having an apprentice.
Well, I always think, it's like... Not that Bobby would ever say that I owe him anything or Scott would ever say that, but I think it's like, if you do look back, it's like...
You are where you
were, it's like
or where you got the opportunities in that sense.
Exactly.
Because of the way that they set you up.
Exactly. And it's not everyone's as lucky to have
two amazing mentors.
People like that around them. Some people don't get those opportunities. But I think if you are lucky, and your mentor has the career that you want to have and they've given you the opportunity, I just think I see a lot of younger tattooers don't make the most of those opportunities and sort of...
I agree.
Maybe not burn bridges, but just...
I don't think they assess the full situation to see and to understand why they are being asked to do something in a certain way, and they sort of question it and they think that they have a better idea.
So it's
that's just very broad.
It's so hard to explain, and I've probably explained it really confusingly. But there's another question here, Bella. There's just always questions. People message them and I screenshot them and we just put them in.
I like it. And I like that I don't know the questions before they're coming.
Do you remember what/who/when got you hooked on tattoos? Was there a person that made you want to get tattooed, then to get heavily tattooed? And did you want to be heavily tattooed prior to becoming a tattooer? And then they wrote 5-star rating on my Spotify.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that was so many questions in one that we might have to go through them.
It was. There
one
was
at a time.
3 question marks in there.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the first one?
Do you remember what/who/when got you hooked on tattoos?
You go first.
Yes. I was in year 10 in high school, and a new kid came to our school.
We've been through this story.
Yeah, he was from WA. He had a tattoo already. His half brother had a tattoo shop in Altona North. And I had been watching Miami Ink, and it was really only Miami Ink was the only show out then.
Yep.
And being into tattoos.
Went and got the old magazines and
Yeah,
stuff.
and I'd been drawing shit tattoo flash and trying to paint and stuff like that, and was reading Tattoos Down Under magazines and Tattoo Candy, which was an old tat magazine as well. And anyway, I ended up getting tattooed by not his brother, but his brother's workmate, and they wouldn't do it at the shop and they did it at their home. And it's my worst tattoo, but my first tattoo, so I don't really have any tattoo regrets when it comes to, what it looks like or whatever. But
no way.
That was really, and I remember saying to him, this is so funny, I was like, oh man, I'm going to become a tattooer one day.
Did you say that?
Yeah, and I did my first ever tattoos on him. I got to tattoo him at that shop in Altona.
Yes.
He tattooed me, and we tattooed one other kid from school.
Fuck, I cannot believe you said that. That's so funny.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm going to tattoo one day. And then when...
This is like the old Auskick shit, you go to fucking Auskick and you look up to your eye and you're like, I'm going to be a football star.
Yeah, I probably said that as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past you.
Yeah, and I said that to him, and then when Bobby told me to buy my first set of machines, which was before I was an apprentice or anything, I did my, next tattoos on Matt.
Your friend.
Yeah, at his house, and they're fucking horrendous, obviously. And I actually saw him the other month. Yeah, the other month. Yeah. And
should have gotten a photo.
I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Yeah, we haven't really seen him properly since high school. You've bumped into him a few times.
Yeah, and I said to him, he's like, oh, are you tattooing? And I was like, yeah. He's like, man, it's so crazy that you said you were going to be a tattooer and now you tat.
Fuck, that is so funny.
I know. So, and I was just like, oh, wow, it is interesting that he remembers that.
I really hope that we bump into Matt again so we can get a photo of the first tats that you did on him.
No.
I do.
It was love across his ass cheek.
I remember that.
In script.
And I remember so clearly that you guys played tattoo roulette to choose what they were. Was that the tat or was it a different time?
I can't remember. No, that was it. And I won't say his name, but the other kid from school who I think has never got another tattoo since got this eagle that's
clapped.
No, it's like a fucking Nazi eagle.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and he just picked it because he likes birds or whatever. I don't think it's like a legit Nazi eagle, but that's like everyone was like, oh, that's a Nazi eagle, bro.
And no one knew until it was done.
No, he got it and then showed people at school, and everyone was like, is that a Nazi
that's what I
eagle?
mean.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my
he
God.
hated it, as you would. And
I completely forgot that he was a part of that.
yeah, and I don't think it was like a legit like Nazi drawing or whatever.
hope
But
not.
it was just one of those eagles that looks like the sort of the logo.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was their logo, the Nazis, but the eagle that they used in a lot of their imagery. So
my God.
I don't think he's got another tattoo since then. I
You'd be fucking scarred for life from that.
hope he got it removed.
I hope so too. Or at least covered.
So that was when. So probably around like 14, 15, whatever age you are, sort of year 9 and year 10.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always like, just wanted, I guess like everything for me is like, oh, you want to get tattoos? It's like, oh, cool. Like we'll get heaps of tattoos.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this guy at the tram stop in the city once, and I was with my mum, and I was like, Mum, I want to look like that guy. And she went up and asked him like about
kidding.
like where to get all these tattoos, and he gave,
Your mum would do something
he gave
like
her
that.
a business card to a tat shop, and then I went and got tattooed there with your friend Sasha. She got tattooed there as well.
Yeah, I was there. I got
Yeah.
tattooed as well.
So, and I remember I was always like, oh, that's the shop because that dude gave the card for there or whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was at the tram stop on Collins Street.
You're actually so embarrassing.
Yeah, I was. What about
Still
you?
are. So technically, yeah, I was quite young. I think I was in like year 8 or something, year 7, year 8, that I was like, I want to get tattooed. I want to be covered. Yeah, embarrassing saying that. But because I'm definitely not covered.
I'm going to get a bodysuit.
I'm far from it. But it was mainly when Mum would stop off at 7-Eleven on the way home, and me and my sister would run in and go get something to eat or whatever. And I'd always look at like the magazines, and my sister would be like looking at Dolly and all that crap. And I would just like pick up the tattoo ones and be like, this is so cool. But yeah, that was embarrassing to say that.
What year was that?
Well, I said I would think I was in like year 8 or something.
Oh, okay, young.
Yeah.
I've got photos of tat flash drawings you did in 2011.
And you're never ever bringing them to see the day.
It was
of
cool.
light
You
again.
You had this because Bella obviously didn't start tattooing until 2019. But you were painting, like you were into tats obviously for a long time before then. So I've got these photos of your old Instagram where you had like tat flash paintings 2011
Oh, it's fucked. I actually feel sick.
intertwined with pinhole fucking mandala things you were doing.
I hate you so much. And they were like painted with like watercolors and shit.
It was a real contrast.
Yeah.
The big tat flash and then like a...
I was really into mixed media art, so we've come a far way, thankfully.
Got a question for the podcast. They all start like that.
Wait, no, the guy that we just answered the question from, or girl, or whatever. It was 3 questions, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry. And their Instagram. So this was the weirdest thing. I'm going to say their name. It's c.hill.out,
Yeah.
which is, I think, is chill out.
Oh.
But I always thought this was Cody Hill's private Instagram.
Like burner account.
So I was like, why the fuck's he messaging me all these questions? And it always writes back to like my stories and stuff. And
Yeah, okay.
so I thought this was Cody's. And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
I'd love if you were like writing back being like, oh, fuck off, cunt or something. And it's like just someone being nice sending in questions.
Or it's just like, was there a person that made you want to get heavily tattooed?
The person that made me want to get heavily tattooed, and this is a little bit later, is actually Jess Swaffer.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Or is it Swaffer?
Don't know.
I'm not sure either.
I just say what I think and I'm going to go with it. But yeah, so she
was tatted.
Yeah, she was quite tatted.
Well,
especially,
she still is. They don't go away.
No. You never know. Maybe she got some lasered. But yeah, she was the one who I was like, fuck, you are a sick cunt. I want to be like you.
Yep.
And she no longer tattoos, unfortunately.
No, she retired.
But yeah, she was someone that I looked up to
Yep.
heavily. I cannot say that any of my tattoos look anything like what she was doing. But yeah, that's who I was idolizing
Yeah.
when I was around like the end of high school.
I've actually been tattooed by her.
I know, and you chose the worst thing to get tattooed by her.
Yep.
Dumbass.
I can't remember if I've said these before, so I always preface
It's
what
like
I say
a
with,
realistic
like,
diamond. Not realistic.
well, everyone's like, she retired and she did obviously traditional.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, from my era, I think she was like one of the most popular tattooers in Australia, if not the world. And people, like, when they find out you got tattooed by, like, oh, what'd you get? And I'm like, oh, I just got to walk in and got a realistic diamond with some script on it.
It's not even realistic. It's just like a more fine
It's not
line-ish.
traditional.
No, it's not traditional.
And everyone's like, oh, I thought
But yeah,
you'd
it's like a
get
massive
something
diamond
sick.
on your foot with your mum's name.
Yeah.
And you were 16 at the time when you got it. And then you went back and got tattooed by her later, or you got
No, I
tattooed
never
in the
got
shop?
tattooed. I was getting tattooed at the shop by Jacqueline.
That's
and
right.
she was there talking to Jacqueline and me.
And then you told
I was-
Jacqueline that you were 16 when you got it. And
No,
she
I
was like,
said
hey,
to-
Jess, come here.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I actually have been tattooed by Jess before. And then, yeah, Jacqueline told me. I was like real worried she'd like hate me.
Yeah, I remember because you text me being like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing and
Yeah.
awkward. And yes, you sound exactly like that.
Yes. I don't think I had anyone that was like, there wasn't really anyone I was like, oh, no, I would say it was definitely Bobby or Scott. Like, I think when you start getting tattooed, you always think that you've got like heaps, you know, like you're like, oh, fuck. Because you're comparing yourself to like all your friends predominantly.
Yeah.
And if you're like into tats and you start getting tattooed young, then obviously you're going to have more than all your friends. So I was always like, and coming from the footy world and stuff, like not many people had heaps of tats. Like I remember.
No, and generally speaking, when you were playing footy, the footy boys, their tattoos were disgusting. They're
Well,
a bit better now.
It just wasn't. It was more like they just got different styles, but
Yeah,
no one was
gross.
really into tats. It was more like you'd get a few. I also think like football as a job and stuff's really restrictive on being able to get tattooed because you don't really have much time.
You
where
also
it's like
got told to stop getting tattooed by multiple people.
I did different time, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they say that these days. So I would say it's like it was. I always just wanted to be more tattooed or like comparable to Bobby or Scott. And there's actually this fucking embarrassing as photo for me. It was when we were in Hawaii, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, his mum, was at breakfast at the buffet breakfast at the place we were staying at.
Yeah.
And she came over and asked if she was like, oh, my son loves tattoos. Can I get a photo with you guys to send to him? And we got the photo ultimately, all shirtless, sitting in this buffet breakfast.
It was so awkward.
And she sent it to him. We didn't know at the time. And we're like, who's your son? And she's like,
I love how you were like, who's your son? Because it's like, oh, it's just my son. Imagine if it wasn't Dwayne The Rock
I
Johnson.
know, but we just said, who's your son? She's like, The Rock. And we were like, oh, that's fucking weird. Why would you call your son by their like stage name?
She's a supportive mother.
Anyway, we went on his Instagram and there's photos of her and stuff on there. So
Yeah, because no one believed that it was actually like his mum.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, just
I've still
some
got the
woman
photo,
saying
but
that.
I've got fuck all tattoos compared to the others in it. And it's like embarrassing.
And you thought you were
I thought I
bombed.
was like covered. And there was one other time at the shop at Vintique, we all got in our jocks to see who had the most tats. And I had the least.
That sounds so
Well, I
sus.
was saying different time. We used to have a lot more chill time.
To get in your jocks.
Well, we were just like, there was an argument going on who had the least. I lost. I had the least. And then I got tattooed flat out by Bobby after that.
yeah,
too.
it was like every week you were getting something new to catch up.
And I'm
'cause you were
actually,
sad.
I've got no motivation to get tattooed at the moment because I'm actually quite happy with where the body's at.
Also, you have no good spots to tattoo.
No, I know. But yeah, I would say Bobby and Scott. More so just so I didn't feel like
Yeah. And then what was the third part of that question?
It was pretty much the same.
Oh, okay. Great. Next question.
Any recommendations for books that are a good tat flash? You know, if you like, look at tat inspiration.
Lost Love. Volume 1, 2,
I don't
and
know.
3.
Yeah, Lost Love Volume 1, 2. I don't actually know if there's a 3.
No, there is, but I tried to buy it and it was sold out, and I've completely forgotten about it since then. So I'm assuming the third volume
yeah.
will be good.
American Tattoo Flash Volume 1 and 2. They're
Yep.
massive. There's like a few good websites that sell heaps of different books with
Yellow Beak is one of the
yeah.
websites.
The main one I would say is like Yellow Beak Press.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what they've got available at the moment. Like some of those ones we said, I don't think are available anymore. But if you go on there, like they've got heaps of line drawing books, heaps of books about, say, tattoo history or like
Yeah.
old historical flash.
I guess it depends what you're
And-
wanting. Like if you're wanting it to be painting your own flash and like just tracing some old classic designs, or if you want to learn about more of the history and you want like more of like a written with photograph book.
Yeah, they'll have like a good mixture on there. And they're really good. So like a lot of the old reference books and stuff that we get and use, you get from there. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
I'd say that's a good starting point.
That is Yellow Beak Press.
Yeah.
They sell cool, not necessarily merch, but like cool
Like banners and
tat
flags
ornaments and stuff like that as
Yeah.
well. We've got a bunch up in the shop, which is
Yeah.
cool. I'll just quickly skim over reading.
Can I just say,
nice things.
I'm so pissed off that you don't have one mosquito bite from Byron. I'm covered. And
Yeah.
it is so
I
frustrating.
didn't get a single one.
Oh my God, I have like 30.
Well, this is relevant to what we were talking about before. How do you view tattoo regret, or maybe like if a project isn't going the way both you and the artist envision? Question for both us and Bella. Crying face. I think they've written that because you always say the questions are directed at me.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tattoo regret. So two things. Tattoo regret about like tattoos that I have. I don't really get that much because I'm just sort of like whatever. I wanted it
Yep.
at some point. Tattoo regret about like what someone else is getting that I might be doing. I think it's a tricky one because, as we've said before, you might not like this idea or style or tattoo that you're doing, but it could be exactly what your client wants. So therefore, you sort of have to put your own personal taste aside because that could be exactly what they're asking for. But if a tattoo isn't necessarily going the way that you wanted it to, for many reasons, it could be that you're just having a really hard time doing it and your customer is really struggling to sit still and you could have a few wobbles in the outline or something. Or anything like that. Like it's just not what you pictured in your head, which does happen. I think that's more of a tricky one. But ultimately I think you get to a point and you're like, all right, if this isn't looking good, how am I going to fix it? And you do have to think on your feet and be like, how can I turn this back around? And that has happened to me like a few times. Like I've been like, oh, I've just got to go to the bathroom. And like you just pretend that you need to go do a wee and you just sit out the back and think to yourself like, how the fuck am I going to make this look really good? But I think ultimately you just have to figure it out.
Well, you do. You got to finish it.
Yeah.
I think I viewed this question a little bit differently.
Oh, okay.
Your answer was good though. I liked it.
Okay.
I'm just being positive, you know.
I feel like I fucked up the question. This is what happens when I take the reins and I'm like, I'll answer this
not
one.
at all. Not at all. I sort of viewed it more as like not necessarily directed at us, but more like what do you do as a customer if you've gone to someone and said you've gone to your local tattoo shop and said, hey, I want a tattoo that looks like this, and you've just say a Japanese sleeve, and you've showed them a photo of a Japanese sleeve of something you've seen on Instagram, and they're like, yep, cool, we can do Japanese, and they're doing it, but it's not looking like what you wanted it to look like.
I'm pleased that you took that question in that way because now they're getting a
They get
double whammy.
question, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say it's like, that is somewhat common, you know, because like social media, you know, it promotes like certain tattooers' work a lot, and then that sort of stuff gets shown to a lot of other tattooers. And I think like, I think it's firstly, before you even start the tattoo, as the customer, it's important to, well, essentially do your research about the person who's going to be doing the tattooing. You know, like they might be able to do really, really good tattoos, but can they show you a tattoo that looks like the style you're wanting?
I think it is completely also up to the person getting the tattoo to, one, do their research. Because if you are getting a tattoo, you need to realize it's on you forever, whatever. The sound of that said that so bad. But it is also, like, if you're going in to get your hair dyed, you're going to look at the salon, you're going to look at the people there and be like, show them some photos and stuff. And you're also at fault if it doesn't turn out how you wanted.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you've gone to the trouble of doing some research and you chose someone shit or who has never showed that work before.
Sorry, that's the dogs barking at someone outside. But that's so I think it's like, and it's on you to like ask them to show you some work that they've done of that style. It's also on the artist to clarify whether you as a customer are just wanting a Japanese tattoo.
Yep.
Or are you wanting it to look specifically exactly like that style, where it's like it might be a certain thickness of line, it might be a certain amount of black shading.
It might be a specific style that like an artist has actually, that is just their style.
Because the umbrella terms, Japanese, traditional, realism, they're just umbrella terms. There's so many nuanced styles underneath each of those.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot with us. You know, people come in and they say, you know, they might have gone to someone else and shown a photo of a tattoo we've done, and not that this other person can't do good tattoos and stuff, but it's like ultimately the way they do traditional looks differently to the way we do it, and it doesn't look the same. So, yeah, I think that's before you do the tattoo, obviously. I say ultimately it's down. Oh, fuck. Now I'm in my head because that person said to you the other day, I say ultimately all the time. And I've just realized I've said it
I forgot about that
3 times in 1 second. But as an artist myself, it's like if someone's coming to me and showing me a tattoo that doesn't look like the tattoos that I do most regularly.
Yeah, which does happen.
Yeah, I'm 100% clarifying. It's like, do you want it to look like what you've shown me, or you just
or do you want my spin on it, and I'll draw it up now and show you my version?
Are you happy for it to look Are you happy for it to look like what the other tattoos you see on my page look like?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's obviously before you get the tattoo. I've definitely experienced more so what you were saying as well, Beau, is like, you know, in order to progress as a tattoo artist, you always see stuff predominantly online, and predominantly was the other word as well.
It was.
Fuck. You see stuff online and you go like, oh, I love how that looks. I would love to try that. I would love to add that into one of my tattoos, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, and it's always like, I always find it's like, in order to like improve your tattoos or like progress them, you need to constantly be trial and error. You know, you do something like, oh, I hope it's going to look like this. Oh, it didn't look like that. Cool. You know,
maybe if I do it a little bit differently, then it will look how I want it and whatever.
Or like, yeah, exactly. And there's definitely been times where I'm like trying something new and I'm like, this is not looking how I thought it was going to look in my head.
Oh, so many times.
But then you've just got to go, cool, it looks how it looks now. Like, what am I going to do to just make it look good?
Yeah.
And
there might just be a few little like tiny things that you need to be like, oh, well, maybe if I whipped this bit out to here or whatever and shaded this part a bit differently or did this part a little bit darker, it'll all work.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I'm saying your words now, that is what I was trying to say before. I think you just need to take a step back and look at the big picture and be like, how am I going to make this entire design flow and work?
Yeah. And from the customer's perspective, if you're in a situation where you're getting tattooed by someone, whether they're good, not good, well-known, not well-known, doesn't matter. It's if you think it's not going the way
that you want your tattoo to be,
it to, then
you should definitely feel comfortable to say something.
Yeah, you can. Like, probably not in an aggressive way, but
no,
it's like
never
talk to your artist. And from my perspective, if someone came to me and said, "Hey, I'm getting this sleeve from you. It's not coming out how I want," I'd say like, "Cool, show me exactly what you want it to look like if you've got reference. If you can, and they can show you a photo. And if that's not something I can do, I would much rather I would put them onto someone who can finish it off in a way that they're going to like it more so than for me to just continue on and try and do it in a way that I can't do."
I was actually going to say before that you and I very happily will say, and we will be the first person to say, if we don't think we can do this tattoo in a good way, like if we don't think we can actually successfully give you the tattoo that we are thinking that you want, we will give you someone else's name or like pass you on to another shop or put you in a different direction that we think is going to get you to where you want to be. Because I don't want someone walking around with a tattoo that I've done that they don't like.
Oh, 100%.
That's like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sure they would be.
Oh, there would. There's definitely
Not just you. I'm not saying you.
No, there's definitely those people, but
Yeah.
And for some of those, maybe I have said, look, that's not really like how I want it, how like I would do it. And they've said, oh, well, that's how I want it. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. So it is a hard one. And I'm sure for the customer's perspective, it would be even harder if you're getting a tattoo from someone and it isn't going the way you want. But ultimately, again, my favorite word, it's on your body forever. So if
you want to be happy with it.
You know, and there will be artists out there, who, like, and I've been asked to finish people's work and stuff like that before. And it's always one of those things, like, depends who the artist is, depends how recently you got it, depends the reason why you don't want to get it finished by them and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think everyone in the tattoo world is like, we're here to provide a service to people and to give the customer a tattoo that they want and they're proud of. And they're happy with. And, if they're not happy going back to someone for whatever reason.
Because they had a uncomfortable encounter.
They shouldn't just have a fucking outline sleeve forever because of that,
Yep, definitely.
Last question, Bella.
Ooh.
Well, there's two here, but we've actually covered two of them before. One of them was like, ever botched a tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I'm going to say no in the way that it's like every bad tat I've ever done, I've been able to rectify.
Have ya? Damn, fucking toot toot, Mr. Big Head.
No. I'm just saying, like, actually, no, that's not true.
You botched a couple of tats on me, so.
I don't think I have.
How about that heart on my, like, shoulder that looks like a dirty mole?
I didn't know how to tattoo then.
So you still botched it.
Oh, okay. Well, if we're considering those ones, then yes.
Yeah. I reckon every tattooer has botched a tattoo.
Yeah. Definitely.
You don't get a Michelin star without giving someone a shit meal, do you?
I don't know about cooking.
No, you don't. You're a terrible cook, but...
Last question.
You already said that.
I know.
I'm just trying to...
I'm trying to zoom in on it.
Oh.
Yeah. So, no, that was...
You're unprepared this time.
No, I'm very prepared. I've got the notes and everything.
Okay. What's the question?
If you could go back in time and you were to take another route in your life, where do you see yourself?
Oh, goodness.
Are we saying, like, go back in time and we didn't date?
Oh, that's sad. Let's do that, though. That seems like an interesting one.
Well, that's a hard one because then it's like... I
don't want to end the podcast on this question. I'm going to get sad.
All right, we'll say that we're still together.
No, we just... Oh, whatever. Do one of we're together and we're not.
No, that's too many questions. A different route. I'm just going to apply this to work. Fuck. Well, my number one would be... If I wasn't tattooing, be playing AFL. Tried that. Didn't work. Maybe like a famous musician.
Okay.
I'm not saying I would be famous, but I would like to be that. That would be cool.
I love how when we were driving home,
I
woke up in the car and Hal was singing to, what was the song? You'll know what it is. You just won't want to say it.
My Sacrifice by Creed.
We love Creed. And
we love all those bands that get a
hard...
They get like a hard rap. Like Nickelback.
Love Nickelback.
Creed. The Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
I don't know if people put the Goo Goo Dolls in there, but that was on the playlist.
Yeah. We listened to some good shit. But yeah, I woke up to Hal singing at...
Bullshit. I wasn't fucking singing it
you
loud.
Were.
I was just saying the words.
My sacrifice.
You should see what's going through my mind when I'm listening to those songs.
But you wouldn't. I woke up and I was like, keep singing, babe. And you're like, no, I can't sing.
You always try and get me to sing. You're like, you're a good singer. I'm like the worst.
No, you are not.
I'm not even the worst singer. I just cannot sing.
I think you can.
Well, you're an idiot then.
I know I'm an idiot.
Can you answer the question? I said famous musician. Because I used to play music, so...
I'm going to... Oh, fuck, I don't know. I gave up on all my other interests in life when I married Hal. All went downhill from there, so...
Yeah, if you could choose any other career path other than just being my wife, what would it be, Bella?
Well, being your wife is a full-time job in itself, so...
Can you answer the question?
I can't think of anything.
What would you love to be? You see something and you're like, fuck, I would love to do that or be that person.
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't want it to be a job because then it takes the fun out of it. Like, I would love to be a chef because I like cooking, but I don't want to be a chef because I don't want to stand in a kitchen all day and night slaving after other people.
So you want to be a celebrity chef?
No, that's even worse. I definitely would not want to be famous in any sense of the word because that sounds terrible.
I would.
Ugh, gross. I would like to have grow up on a farm and have like a family run business. I think that would be so fun.
Oh, you're like full different life.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I always wish
I'd want like a quiet, like very...
I always wish that I grew up in the country because both my parents did. And we used to always holiday or like we'd spend a lot of time up in the bush.
And your grandparents still live where your parents grew up.
Yeah, my parents moved out there now and stuff. But so I was always like, oh, I'm from like a country family, but I was like, grew up in the inner city.
You're the city boy. You grew up in North Fitzroy, you flog.
Hey.
You can't say you were a country boy
Fitzroy,
if you grew up there. That is so inner city.
I said I came from a country family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I was always like bummed that I didn't grow up in the country because I would have loved it. A doctor actually told my parents once when I was young that.
Yeah, so Hal growing up was a very difficult child. He had like a lot of behavioural issues. And what did the doctor say?
I either needed to get on heavy medication or my parents moved me to a farm.
So that you could run until your heart is content is what your mum explains.
Very energetic as a kid. Very energetic.
Oh, imagine. I'm just picturing you in a paddock just running around like Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys. You know that kid that
I love that show.
That doesn't speak and it's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I picture you as a child, especially because you had long hair.
I'm picturing what people are thinking this podcast has become.
What? A shambles of our life.
Just us sitting on the floor, you eating tomatoes.
Cherry tomatoes.
Talking.
And no, I did not grow these ones. Mine
this is one of those episodes where I'm like, I had great grand plans for it. I put the effort in, planned it.
We always put the effort in.
I know. I thought last week was like pretty good. And now I'm getting to the end going, I don't know if this has come out how I wanted. Much like some of the tattoos.
And your life in general. But you know what, Hal? I think our only objective with this podcast was for it to be a podcast that we are happy to do, we enjoy doing, about our life and our work. And I think at the end of the day, that is what we're doing.
I just don't want it to be boring though. I don't want people to sit there going, these fucking cunts, what are they even talking about?
But why do we have to talk about anything specific? We're just talking. It's about us and our life and our work. That is what we are doing and what we're talking about.
Before this descends into a full-blown argument.
But I like the arguments. No. I've actually had so many messages being like, I love the bickering between you two. But I'm like, do you?
Come and live with it. You won't love it.
But to end the episode, I think we need to tell you why we're ending the episode right now. Because...
the game started half an hour ago.
What?
Yeah, but we've got on demand.
No, yeah, half an hour ago. Fuck.
So I'm going to start
the game is the first round.
Of the AFL season. Woo! And we're not big watchers of it, but I just like...
this year I'm in.
Yeah, we're going to start watching. So Carlton versus Richmond. You will know the outcome when this episode comes out. So...
and tomorrow night, Beelzeboo's team.
The Pies.
Good old Collingwood forever.
Bella's been like a member for her whole life for Collingwood, but she's like not a supporter.
Dad stopped paying my membership fee a few years ago, so
because how many games you been to?
Not many.
Anyway, thank you all for listening again. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode because you would have been listening for a long time and it would be regretful if you didn't enjoy it by now.
I'm so sorry.
So
thank you very much for coming along for the ride of Carlisle Studios. Like, follow, subscribe.
And we'll have something out for you again the following Monday.
Hit us up with some feedback.
Yeah. And we do have more plans for I know I say this every week. We do have more plans for, it's not just going to be us rambling on. Unless that's what you like.
There will be more episodes like that, but we do have more plans of just us. But yeah, give us some feedback. Tell us if you think we can be doing things better. Tell us what they are. Yeah. We want to be better.
Thank you.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Carlisle Tattoo Co. 178 Carlisle Street, St Kilda, Melbourne, Australia.